The main story of the month, Scott Hall missed the February 1st TV tapings in Orlando because he was hospitalized after partying way too hard on the way back from a show they did in Korea. They showed a couple of clips of that Korea show. They showed Jarrett defending the title against an unnamed opponent in the main event. It was actually AJ, but I guess it makes sense why they didn't want to.
I was really trying to like work it out, and I was like, it's AJ, and then I was like, put two and two together. It's like, they don't want to show AJ losing to Jarrett.
Which was probably the right call, but it's like, yeah, Jarrett goes all the way over to Korea to defend the NWA title, and they do everything in their power not to show who he's defending it against because it is AJ. But on the way back from that, apparently Scott Hall got very, very, very drunk and had to be hospitalized and missed the taping. He was supposed to be on the pay-per-view on Against All Odds. It was supposed to be Hall and Bobby Roode against DDP and Monty Brown, which is actually originally pitched as a singles match. It was they were kind of lucky they pivoted to a tag in the first place. It was meant to be Hall against DDP in the first place, but they pivoted to a tag. Hall obviously missed the show. They kind of loosely explained it. They were like, Scott D'Amore has bought out the contract of Scott Hall and put Eric Young in the match instead. I'm like, really?
He just has faith in EY.
He really does, despite the fact that they lost the tag titles last month.
But, they are an established tag team, so maybe he thinks that tag team continuity is more important.
So there is some conflicting news about like just the kind of shape Hall was in, but by all accounts, he was relatively clear-headed on the shows. He didn't seem to be too bad, but the thing apparently is that he cannot handle overnight trips because, as we talked about, he lives 15 minutes away from Universal, so he's just like literally popping down to the theme park, doing his match in Angle, and then going straight home. Whereas like a long trip to Korea, he has a lot of time by himself and a lot of time where he has to probably fill dead time either on a flight or before shows, and that seems to be, and like apparently like he admits that according to the Torch, Hall doesn't deny his lack of ability to control his impulses. He admits he's an alcoholic and practically begs people not to let him go on trips at this point in his career, but the offer was made and he took it, and it backfired on everybody because he needs to be around his support system. He needs to be around his family and a support group, and when he's not, incidents like this happen and he misses television tapings, and like this is the end of Scott Hall's run until 2007. Until then, he no-shows another show then. So this is obviously, Scott Hall passed away last year. It's no secret the demon Scott Hall has battled long throughout his career. And like as we were mentioning, we were enjoying his work. Like he wasn't blowing the doors off the place, but he was a welcome presence on the show. And it's just sad once again his demons have gotten the better of him.
Scott Hall kind of like has this, maybe not unknown, but like this not talked about entire history with TNA. He's like kind of been a semi-consistent presence. He was there at the beginning. He was here at the beginning of Impact. He shows up again in 2007, shows up again during the Monday Night Wars. Like, Scott Hall's kind of a TNA guy.
Yeah, for a guy who's probably made 20 TNA appearances in his life, maybe 30, he was on a lot of the important shows, as you said. He was on the very first show and he was one of the major stars. He was a surprise return on the first major pay-per-view. He headlined the second pay-per-view in the 6-man tag. And as you said, he was part of the most watched segment in the history of the company, which was the Hulk Hogan debut where him and Waltman tried to get their jobs back or whatever the hell that segment was about. But like he was part of that segment. But that most watched episode, most watched segment in company history, Scott Hall was in. So for a guy who, as I said, probably made 30 appearances in company history, he certainly chose him.
You know how to pick his spots.
Yeah, this is the end of Hall. He was pulled from the pay-per-view match, obviously, and he does not appear again until 2007, in which he is pulled from another pay-per-view match. It then does not appear again until 2010.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.